Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Welcome to our Leo Elixir Rite for 21. I'm Scott Stenwick, your host for these Elixir Rites, presented under the auspices of Leaping Laughter OTO in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you for joining us this evening. I've included 2 links in the description with the video. I have a link to the script, which is the full script of the rite, and I have the donation. You gotta know what to do with by now. Also, for our YouTube channel, remember to like, subscribe, and click the little bell for notifications. That way, you'll always know when we are going live with these Elixir Rites and anything else we present here on the YouTube channel, such as the Ritual Night Talks. So tonight is the Leo Elixir. The sign Leo is attributed to the power of training wild beasts. And okay, so you're calling in. Hey, you're calling in. You're checking it out online, right? And it's the power of training wild beasts. And you don't have a pet that's going through obedience school. So what's that about? Okay, well, as I interpret it, the power of training wild beasts has to do with your conditioning. Okay, so I've talked about this before, the idea of the behavioral model of conditioning loops and so forth, and how deconditioning is important to magicians. The key to getting really good at magic, or one of the keys to them, there are several, is to get past some of this automatic conditioning that we run on, every day, just kind of going about our lives, responding to things kind of automatically. Crowley talked about how magic is the science and art of causing change in conformity with will. The key there is will, which is why we are Thelemites and why our system is called Thelema. So will is about intent. It's about intentionally setting things in motion. In psychology, there are 2 modes of consciousness that we engage in commonly. One is called active frame cognition, and the other is called passive frame cognition. And passive frame cognition is just, it's just when you're kind of running it automatic. You're just going about your day. You're not really, giving that much thought to your actions because you're just following a routine. And those routines are all related to conditioning and how conditioning works. And so you could be really effective in terms of going about your day, especially if you live a life that's fairly repetitive. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you do the same kinds of things at your job, you come home, you hang out with your family and friends. That sort of thing is pretty easy to do automatically on conditioning without really thinking about it. But one of the transitions to living life the way magicians live life is to really engage that active frame cognition, to not be just reacting to something and then acting without engaging your consciousness and looking at, does this serve my will? And, the idea of true will or pure will, I think, is clearly related to this idea of active frame cognition. You are going through life deliberately. You are going through life in harmony with your will, and hopefully directing your life in a way that is going to work better. And there's a reason that it works better. Okay, so Buddhism, they talk about how the problem of suffering comes from impermanence, and because you have these aggregates that are grasping at the world, expecting it to be permanent and so forth. In Thelema, we have a similar kind of idea. And the deal is that most conditioning was formed, as you were growing up, as you're going through your life. And the conditioning system is really simple. It's like a machine. If you look at the way operant conditioning functions, it's like it follows like something like 4 or 5 rules. And it works on everything from, aplysia sea slugs with these, tiny nervous systems compared to humans, all the way up to humans. And this conditioning system, it's kind of computer-like. Timothy Leary talked about his conditioning, and he talked about how it was like the robot. It really is similar to a computer. It's like a machine. It tries to execute the same behaviors over and over again. And basically what happens with a lot of the stuff we see in life that doesn't work, we've got this conditioning that was built up when we were kids. And you could be conditioned to do anything that you're reinforced for. So if you did something and something pleasant then happened to you, you got a conditioning loop. What's going to happen is that system is going to signal you to do that behavior again in a similar situation. Okay. Likewise, if we did something and we're punished for it, we're going to be averse to that. Although one of the interesting things about punishment versus reward is that Skinner discovered in the 1960s that punishment is not like the reverse of reinforcement. Punishment actually doesn't work as well. And the reason it doesn't work as well is that it's dependent on the source of the punishment. Okay. So just to give you a really simple example, there are some people who do, there's a Liber Jugorum, Crowley says, you could condition yourself to, avoid like a certain word or a certain activity or something like that. And when you mess up and you do it anyway, you're supposed to cut yourself with a razor blade, which is like the hardcore version. Or what some people do is they take a rubber band and snap it against their wrist. The idea is that the punishment is going to deter you from doing it. But here's the thing. With what Skinner discovered in the 1960s, 20 years after Crowley died, is that punishment is only going to work while the source of the punishment is in effect. In other words, leave home without your razor blade, that conditioning is just going to disappear because it was created by punishment, not reward. Same thing with your rubber band. Oh, now you're not wearing the rubber band? Oh, well, look, that conditioning loop is not enduring because it is situation dependent and it is source of punishment dependent. So as I see it, a better way to work with conditioning, as I've talked to a little bit in some of my psychology talks, is when you act the way you want to act, you should reward yourself. So let's say you've got a conditioning loop from when you were a kid. And when a certain system comes up, you get defensive or argumentative or whatever, okay? But a situation comes up and you recognize that this is starting to happen. And then what you do is you restrain yourself in such a way that you direct the behavior elsewhere. So you do something different. Instead of, I would freak out at this normally, but I'm going to remain calm. And you remain calm and you just deal with the situation as it happens. And then, once you've done that, you're like, hey, I beat that conditioning loop. And so you could do any kind of rewarding thing. It just has to be pretty immediate, because the closer the reward is to the source of, the closer the reward is to the behavior you're trying to reinforce, the better it works. So like you can carry around like little pieces of candy that you like, just like little ones, and just eat that when it's sweet and it's reinforcing, when you act the way you want. Or, if you are at a bar, take a drink and make sure it's a drink of something you really like or something like that. So it's a positive way of doing the same kind of thing, but in a way that, according to Skinner's research, the conditioning loop will remain and it will be stronger even after you end the formal practice of what you're doing. And the issue with doing that is the conditioning loops you build that way are going to be relevant to your life as it is today. The problem with the conditioning loops from when you were a kid, okay, this worked when you were a kid. It got you attention. It got you, some kind of a reward or whatever from other people. But now it's entirely inappropriate because you're an adult. And what's going on is you're in effect grasping at the world the way it was when the conditioning loop was formed when you were a child. And so that is why people acting under the influence of conditioning loops can act really childish sometimes. And you're just surprised, like, this is a smart person. They're reacting like, yeah, that's it. And those conditioning loops are things that also, meditation can get your thoughts to the point where, where you recognize that something like that is starting to happen. And it gives you a little more time to actively engage your mental faculties to address that conditioning. Now, I've gone on about that a lot, longer than I intended. Tonight, the Leo Elixir Rite is a ceremonial way of incorporating our elixir technology and our zodiacal evocation methods to help magically and ceremonially address those conditioning loops. So if you want to cultivate some kind of conditioning, I want to cultivate conditioning that will, make me good with money. Okay, people always talk about money. Or I want to eliminate conditioning that is holding me back from doing something I want to do in my life. That's another good one. And also, to keeping in mind that The powers from 777, that's where Training Wild Beast comes from. It's related to the Lust card, are descriptive, not proscriptive. So anything in a book on astrology that is attributed to Leo, this rite could also be used for that. So, you want to be good at public speaking. Leo is like about being kind of like out there and stuff like that. That would be something that would work just fine here from both a conditioning standpoint and just from a general cultivation of ability standpoint. Now, to fully take part in this ritual, you're going to want to have a cup of wine, juice, even water, something to drink. There's going to be a point where we're going to be drinking from the cup of the elixir and formulating our intent just prior to doing that. And so you want to have that ready as we go into the ritual here. And then you want to make sure that when you drink out of it, you don't drink all of it, because we leave some at the end as an offering. And that can be water, wine, juice, whatever, it's fine. And other than that, you can just kind of focus on the rite and just hold the cup, your hands like this. I mean, I'm going to be doing stuff with this one like I usually do. And just hold it and focus on, the ritual and what's going on. And there's like energy, flowing between your hands into the cup and stuff like that. And so it should be able to pick that up. One other thing I just want to address because of comments I've seen on the blog. So for this ritual, you're going to see me do the Solar Hexagram. Okay, and the Solar Hexagram is the hardest of all the hexagrams because it's composed of the other 6. And I just want to show you this. So, all right, so what you do is to trace the Solar Hexagram, you start at Saturn, trace the Saturn hexagram. Okay, then you go over to Jupiter, you trace the Jupiter hexagram. Then Mars. And then Venus, which seems like you're repeating yourself because it starts at the same point that Mars ends. Then Mercury. And finally the moon. So I'm going to do that to all 4 quarters. And I like to vibrate Ararita with each of my hexagrams. You don't necessarily have to do that. I've seen people who also like stretch it out across all 6, but that seems a little awkward to me, and I'm fine doing it, 6 times the quarter, 6 being the number of the sun, and so forth. So with that, I'm going to get going here. And thank you for joining me for tonight's via Solis Leo, not Libra, Elixir Rite. Balastium Peda. Atamakut. Begebra Vegeta. Leolamamen. Yahweh. Adonai. Ihaya. Agla. Before me, Raphael. Behind me, Gabriel. On my right hand, Michael. On my left hand, Oriel. For about me flames the pentagram, and hands the 6th-rate star. Atam Malkut. Begemara Vegeta. Leolamamen. We take refuge in Nuit, the blue-lidded daughter of sunset, the naked brilliance of the voluptuous night sky, as we issue the call to the awakened nature of all beings, for every man and every woman is a star. Makashana. We take refuge in Hadit, the secret flame that burns in every heart of man and in the core of every star, as we issue the call to our own awakened natures, arousing the coiled serpent about to spring. Amrahadabra. We take refuge in Heru Raha, who wields the wand of double power, the wand of the force of Kofnia, but whose left hand is empty, for he's crushed in universe and naught remains, as we unite our awakened natures with those of all beings everywhere and everywhen, dissolving all obstacles and healing all suffering. Om. For pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. All is pure and present, and has always been so. For existence is pure joy. All the sorrows are but as shadows, they pass and are done, but there is that which remains. To this realization we commit ourselves, pure and total presence, so mote it be. Iron Eye, Yanrashnunyan, Isis, nature, the fullness of earth, Horus, volition, the triumph of Sol, Set, guardian, lord of the threshold, duty, perfection, uniting them all. Isis, Horus, Set, duty, Abraham, Isis in fullness, Horus triumphant, Set the liminal, Tehuti, Neter, Neteru. Isis, Horus, Set, Tehuti, Makashana, the linking of earth with the stars. Ararita, 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 Ararita. Ararita, Ararita, Ararita. Iron Eye, Yadrashnunyan, Isis, nature, the fullness of earth, Horus, volition, the triumph of Sol, Set, guardian, lord of the threshold, Tahuti, perfection, uniting them all. Isis, Horus, Set, Tahuti, Abraham, Isis in fullness, Horus triumphant, Set the liminal, Tahuti, Neter, Neteru. Isis, Horus, Set, Tahuti, Makashana, the linking of earth with the stars. Now I begin to pray, thou child, holy thy name and undefiled. Thy reign is come, thy will is done. Here is the bread, here is the blood. Bring me through midnight to the sun. Save me from evil and from good, that thy one crown of all the 10, even now and here be mine. Amen. In my breast I carry the mark of the living God. I adore thee, thou light of the world. I adore thee, thou light of the Grail. I ask nothing from thee, for I am become thee. I and thee are one in the perfection of the mystery of life. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like crystal, and in the center and around the throne 4 living creatures full of eyes in front and behind. Without stopping day or night, they were saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was, who is, and who is coming. Iao. Holy art thou, who art in nature formed. Holy art thou, the vast and the mighty, source of darkness, source of light. Lord Almighty and all-powerful, hear our prayers. Command thy holy angels above the fixed stars to be assisting and aiding of thy people, that we may command all spirits of the air, fire, water, earth, heaven, and hell, so that they may tend to the glory of God and man. Ararita, 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 Heya. 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 O thou crowned giant among great giants, thou crimson-sworded soldier of war, yea, as I battle with thee, thou masterest me as a lion that slayeth a babe that is cradled in lilies. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the whispers of the deserts and the moan of the simoon and all the silence of the sea of dust, so that I may be lost in the atoms of thy glory and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting wrath. O thou incandescent ocean of molten stars, surging above the arch of the firmament, I swear to thee by the main pennoned lances of night to stir the lion of thy darkness from its lair and lash the sorceress of noontide into fury with serpents of fire. O thou sovereign light and fire of loveliness, whose flaming locks stream downwards through the aether as knots of lightning deep-rooted in the abyss, I know thee, O thou winnowing flail of brightness, the passionate lash of whose encircling hand scatters mankind before thy fury as the wind scud from the stormy breast of ocean. O glory be to thee, O God, my God, for I behold thee in the lion rampant of the dawn. Thou hast crushed with thy paw the crouching lioness of night, so that she may roar forth the glory of thy name. O thou mighty God, make me as a ruby lion that roareth from the summit of a white mountain. I beseech thee, O thou great God, that I may echo forth thy lordship through the hills and dwindle into the nipple of thy bounty, O thou God, my God. O thou opalescent serpent queen, whose mouth is as the sunset that is bloody with the slaughter of day, hold me in the crimson flames of thine arms, so that at thy kisses I may expire as a bubble in the foam of thy dazzling lips. O thou God of the nothingness of all things, thou who art neither the traces of the chariot nor the pole of galloping delusion, O thou who art not the pivot of the whole universe, nor the body of the woman serpent of the stars, I deny thee by the powers of mine understanding. Lead me in the unity of thy might, and draw me unto the threshold of thine all-pervading nothingness. For thou art all, and none of thee is in the fullness of thy not being. Ah, but I rejoice in thee, O thou, my God, thou jewel work of snow on the limbs of night, thou elaboration of oneness, thou shower of universal suns. Yea, I rejoice in thee, thou gorgeous, thou wildering one. O thou great lion roaring over a sea of blood. I rejoice, yea, I shout with gladness, till the wild thunder of my praise breaketh down, as a satyr doth a babe the 99 gates of thy power, in the glory and splendor of thy name. O with blood, and be merciful unto me, as I humble myself before thee. For all my courage is but as the fang of a viper that striketh at the rosy heel of dawn. O woe unto me, my God, woe unto me, for all the joy of my days lies dishonored, as the spangle-veiled virgin of night, torn and trampled by the sun-lashed stallions of dawn. Yet in the frenzy of their couplings do I tremble forth the pearly dew of ecstatic light. Oh, what art thou, O God, my God, thou red fire fang that gnawest the blue limbs of night? Oh, thou devouring breath of flame, thou illimitable ocean of frenzied air, in whom all is one, a plume cast into a furnace. Oh, how can I dare to approach and stand before thee? For I am but as a withered leaf whirled away by the anger of the storm. O thou unity of all things, as the sun that rolleth through the 12 mansions of the skies, so art thou, O God, my God. I cannot slay thee, for thou art everywhere. Lo, though I lick up the boundless light, the boundless and the not, there still shall I find thee, thou unity of unities, thou oneness, O thou perfect nothingness of bliss. O glorious and mighty Verakiel, you who command and rule over the spirits of Ari, behold me, and in the name of the same your God, the stabilizing and fiery Hevia, attend and appear before us in this circle of art. Full powers and wonders of the sign of Leo do we rightly desire. Enlighten our understanding, encourage our hearts, and manifest unto us now as we partake of your spiritual realm. So mote it be. Verakiel, 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 Verakiel. You are holy, and your name is holy. You are exalted, and your name is exalted. You are mighty, and your name is mighty. You are strong, and your name is strong. You are honored, and your name is honored. You are true, and your name is true. You are ancient, and your name is ancient. You are blessed, and your name is blessed. You are chosen, and your name is chosen. You are great, and your name is great. You are praised, and your name is praised. You are power, and your name is power. Gloria Patri et Matri et Filius et Filia et Spiritus Sancto externo et Spiritus Sancti interno, ut eratus deridet seculo seculorum, sex in uno per nomen septem in uno, ararita. O stabilizing and fiery Hevia. To thee we present this talisman of our magical will. We ask thee, O exalted one, to receive this body of our right into the light of thy presence. As we proceed in making this elixir of Leo, charging it with the creative energies of Ari, we shall achieve a true alchemical ferment, mighty in Yetzirah and vitalized by thy blessing. In partaking of this mystery, let there be unto us vitality of soul, increase of sight, true gnosis, and complete manifestation of the wonders of thy sphere. Creature of wine, who art established in the sphere of Leo, by the vital force of my breath, I enliven thee to perfect this work of holy magic in the realm of Ari. Hevia. Hevia.
Behold the elixir of Leo. For all and for each it is prepared. Let each and all receive its magic virtue. So this is the point where you're going to formulate your intent and then take a drink from your cup. Make sure not to empty the cup because we want a little bit left over at the end for the offering. Glorious and mighty Verakiel, we make this offering unto you that may nourish and fortify you as you attend to your appointed tasks. Be the ferment of our spiritual alchemy mighty in the crucible of our souls. So mote it be. O thou Verakiel, praise and honor be unto thee for the splendor of thine office and the majesty of thy being, and the blessing of thy God and mine, the stabilizing and fiery Hevia, because thou hast diligently answered unto our demands, and hast been very ready and willing to come at our call. We do here license thee to depart unto thy proper place by the name Hevia, without causing harm or danger unto man or beast. Depart then, I say, and be thou very ready to come at our call, being duly exercised and conjured by these sacred rites of magic. We charge thee to withdraw peaceably and quietly, and that the peace of the Almighty, eternal, true, and living God be ever continued between us. Amen. So mote it be. May life, light, love, and liberty be extended universally to all under the regency of the one law of Thelema. May all attain the stone of the wise, the summum bonum, true wisdom, and perfect happiness. May the benefit of this act and all acts be dedicated unto the complete liberation and supreme enlightenment of all beings everywhere, pervading space and time. So mote it be. May the benefits of practice, ours and others, come to fruition ultimately and immediately, and we remain in a state of presence.
Ata Malkut Vegebra Vegeruda Leolam Amen. I now declare this temple duly closed. All right, thank you very much for joining us for the Leo Elixir Rite. So with your offering, I still have some wine left in my cup here. I'm going to do, I usually do take my Leo tablet. Oh, wow, that made the video really dark. Leo tablet that I've had on the altar here while we've been doing this operation. And I'm going to just set that over here behind me and place the cup in the center of it. As far as your offering, you can place it on a shelf, you can place it on your altar, you can allow the liquid in it to naturally evaporate, or you could dispose of it outdoors. Just pour it into, I don't know, garden lawn. I mean, whatever you have out there. Keeping in mind that this is dedicated to the angel of Verachiel, who is the angel of Leo. And so, just like don't drink it. So that's kind of the thing. So I'm going to set this over here with the cup. And I'm just going to allow that to naturally evaporate over the next couple of days. With that, that concludes our presentation of the Leo Elixir Rite for 2021. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed it. And have a great rest of the evening. Love is the law. Love endure well.